Olá, pessoal, tudo bem? Mais uma série de entrevistas sobre a pandemia da COVID-19 ao redor do mundo. E hoje nós estamos na Rússia com a Chami, que é a diretora de Relações Internacionais da Ordem dos Advogados da Rússia. E eu vou fazer algumas perguntas para ela. Essa nossa entrevista será em inglês. E eu tenho certeza que muitas informações interessantes sobre a atual situação da Rússia nesse momento de pandemia e como o país está enfrentando essa crise, também em relação à advocacia local. So, Chami, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure to talk to you and see you again. Now, our last time was in Geneva in January, so we didn't had idea about what would going to happen that time, right? So January was much more calm for all of us, and in 2 months, everything happens, and we have a lot of problems now in a global scale. So my first question to you, I would like to ask, and so you can tell to our Brazilian audience, how is the evolution of the coronavirus outbreak in Russia? Can you tell me a little bit more in a broad perspective?
So according to medias and the official information that is actually on the internet and on TV, so 2 first cases were fixed on 31st January this year, right after the Chinese New Year. And then just the first thing was done is they created like operative center. It's like emergency cases center, something like that here in Russia, just to analyze the situation here all over the world. That time, this infection wasn't considered by the WHO as like a pandemic or something global. So that's why there weren't any restrictions or strict measures taken by Russia. And then after like in February, 2 cases, 1 case was revealed on the Diamond Princess cruise. There was a woman who actually got this virus. And after that, among 8 people which were on this cruise, 3 people were diagnosed with this coronavirus after coming back to Kazan. So it were next 4 cases, and then there were the cases from China, which were infected from Chinese people. And then in the beginning of March, the first case from Italy was fixed. It was an Italian guy who came back to Russia for his studies. It was in St. P. And after that, more and more cases, mostly Russians coming back from Italy, they got infected. And right now, there are about 500 cases in Russia. It's only official information, so we don't know about the real numbers, but official number is about 500 cases. So that was the evolution, and right now they actually there are about 50 to 70 cases one day, like each day. So we don't know where it's going, but I don't think that it will be, it will be less or something in several days.
Yes, our first case in Brazil was a guy who came from Italy too.
Sure, I heard about that, by the way. Yes.
Was in February 25, or 26, if I'm not wrong. And then we have received other imported cases from United States. But as far as I know, we didn't receive any case from China. And then we have the contamination inside Brazil, and then we can't track anymore. We have more. We have today almost, or we have more than 2,000 cases in Brazil.
2,000.
Yeah, 2,000 cases officially. Because the problem is here in Brazil, the rule is if you're feeling a little bit sick, you it's recommended for you not to go to the hospital because you are going to make a test that a person who is in a worse situation than you could do the test. So if you're a little bit sick only, just like a small flu or something, don't go to the hospital, stay at home, like 15 days isolated from the family in order to protect yourself. But this is important, of course, because we don't have structure regarding hospitals for everybody. Brazil is a third world country, as you know, so we don't have structure for everybody. I think even the first world countries like UK or US don't have either, because this is very different for everybody. But so we have the official cases, but a president of the most important hospital in Brazil said that for one official case, you have other 15 unofficial cases. So
yeah,
maybe the number is bigger.
So in Russia, it's the quarantine period is 14 days. It's like 2 weeks, and of isolation. And so there are 3 steps of checking if you are infected by the coronavirus or not. So the main laboratory is situated not in Moscow. It's situated in Novosibirsk. It's in like Siberia, in Russia, and the results, if you are sick, if you went back from the so-called dangerous country, you call. If you feel sick, you call like the hotline, and then some medical, doctors, they come to his home. Then they check the temperature and so on, and if there are symptoms, they take these people to the main hospital. Here in Moscow, we have one hospital officially right now with all the patients infected with coronavirus. It was actually it was meant to be for the people who are living in this district. But after this situation became very serious, they decided. So the Moscow government decided to put the patients with coronavirus there. So actually, and if you are not sick, so they just doctors just tell these people to stay at home and just to self-isolate, and that's it. So it's just the same, but we have like the separate center for the patients here.
Yeah, in Brazil we're having a lot of problems because we also have private and public hospitals, and this order to make the quarantine and the isolation and so on. But for example, some services didn't stop, like policemen, firefighters, and banking and restaurants. Some restaurants are open just to delivery or takeaway. That they are not. It's mandatory to stay closed. But no, people need to work. Some services.
Yeah, sure.
And then we see a lot of queues in the trains, and anybody wearing masks, for example. So it's very hard to control. The quarantine is just for some people and not for other people. So, but it's very hard. I don't have an answer how to solve this, because some people need to work, some people can't work at home, and the hospitals are crowded already. So it's a very bad situation. So how about the economy in Russia? Did you see any impact so far?
Yes, it's told that actually the export to China has been reduced, and this amount of goods and other stuff, actually it was reduced like significantly, and Russian companies, actually like export companies, they are having these huge financial losses right now. But we hope that in China the situation will be stabilized soon, because according to, once again, to the media, there are 90% of cases, and people got over this disease. So actually, I think that in China, the situation will be better very soon. And after that, we will we will have the possibility to restore all these expert relations and all this stuff with China. And also, but yet there are some restrictions concerning the exports from Russia. It concerns the medical masks, medical stuff, and also some kind of cereals, some vegetables which are essential for Russian citizens. As here in stores, right now you can't find the buckwheat, which is very popular in Russia. Rice as well, and some pasta, and also toilet paper, like everywhere. But still, the Russian government have stated that there won't be any problem with products because all the companies, they're prepared for this, and there will be no like such situation when you can't find toilet paper or something. But still, there are no masks, no antiseptics everywhere. Like in pharmacies, you can't find it. You need to order them online or find somewhere.
We have the same problem in Brazil, and the price is much higher now.
Yeah, and the price, like usually the masks here, like 100 pieces, is for about 1,500 rubles, and right now you can find them only like about 3,000 or 3,500, like this stuff, and the prices are unreal. Actually, I just got masks from my father, who brought me them from Vietnam, and they're much more cheaper than in Russia right now.
So are you? So how is the quarantine in Russia, but especially in Moscow? That's where you live. Are you allowed to walk on streets?
Sure. The streets are still not crowded, but people are actually walking, and we are still working. I mean, today is my day when I need to be at the office, and actually all the restaurants, they are still functioning. All the business malls, business malls, they're actually, I mean, these kind of, public places with stores and food courts and like restaurants, and also many companies, they are still working. No distant, of course, lots of companies, they move to kind of distant work, and all the universities actually in Moscow, it was so the mayor of Moscow issued an order according thereto. So all the higher education institutions, all the schools, colleges, they shall shall like provide the education distantly. So for example, in the Moscow, for example, the MGIMO, Moscow State University of International Relations, they asked all the foreigners, all the foreign students to get out of the dorms and to go back to their countries. So because and if these students don't have any possibility to go back home, they should write a special request to the rector, just to explain their situation. They will be financed with some means to go home, or somehow they will provide this place of stay here. But as my brother and sister, they are studying there. They are now, studying distantly by Skype calls or Zoom or like webinars and so on. And it's actually till 12th April, but in fact they will they will have exams online too. It will be like till the end of the semester. And most of the universities, they're also working right now distantly. The professors are still, and the university staff, they still work. They're still working. They go to work like they are at the universities, and they have this kind of work meetings and so on. So.
Okay, I'm not seeing you right now. But
just a second. Okay.
All right.
I'm here.
So, and how about the legal profession? Are the courts closed or?
The legal profession, sure. Actually, the courts are now not closed, and all the consulting companies, they're still working, but distantly, of course. But some of them, they still, it is recommended to send the workers home, but actually, those companies, they can decide themselves, just at their risks. So some government structures, they send the half of their workers home, and half of the workers, they still go to work. So it's not like very strict right now, because I think it's only 500 cases, and I, the government, they have kind of worked on 3 ways of scenario, and if there will be more than about 1,000 or 800 cases, so they will take more strict measures. If, for example, you can't go out of your home, something like that. But public transport here is still working, is still functioning. The metro, the subway, the buses, all this stuff. People are still jogging, and they're still walking in the streets. Just much more less, but you can see the people right now.
Yeah, so we have here a very historical relationship with Italy. So we have a lot of people who were in Italy during the carnival.
Yes, it was the Venice,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, in Venice, but we have a very big carnival in Brazil. It's the most important holiday in Brazil, almost 1 week of party, and so people take this time to travel a lot. And we had a lot of Brazilians who were in Italy during this period. So almost all the first important cases were from Italy. So then the government, especially the state governments like Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo, for example, they were very concerned about the situation in Italy, because we have a lot of contacts, a lot of parents of Brazilian lives in Italy or are from Italy. So we are speaking a lot with Italian people, and then and the situation in Italy is crazy now, right? So a lot of deaths now, 6,000 deaths if I'm not wrong. So it's terrible, the situation there. So here had the idea to start a lockdown in the very beginning of everything. So let's see, because in Brazil we have the 210 million people.
Yes, and according to statistics, it's mostly like aged people.
Yes.
And that's why here in Moscow we have this rule that people who are aged above 65 years old, they should stay at home.
This is very good.
So it's recommended to stay at home, and it was promised by the government that they will pay them about 4,000 rubles, so they can stay at home. If they stay at home, they will be paid like some amount. It's a very, very, very small amount, but still like motivation.
Better than nothing, right?
Yeah. But right now I can see actually aged people, like old people, they still in the streets, and I don't know what are they doing actually.
Yeah,
but
we have the same problem here. We have the same problem, and the government just announced it that they will pay, the government will pay like 200 reais. This is like $40. But just for people who don't have money to buy food, for example, because we're going to have a lot of unemployed people. we're
Sure.
expecting like more than 20 million people when this pandemic ends. So we're expecting to stay at home like for the next 1 month or 2 months. So we don't know. We don't know anything actually. So we are expecting a lot of unemployed people. So the government is going to start paying a small amount just for them to buy food, because everybody has clothes, everybody has everything, but food is necessary to survive. So this is the first decision of the government. So let's see what happens. So
yes, and here in Russia, if the scenario goes bad, so all the cities will be closed. Like you can't go from one city to another, like from one region to another.
It's happening here right now. We can't go out of Rio and we can't go to São Paulo, for example.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Oh,
yes.
So right now it's not here it's not like that in Russia.
The buses are closed. So you can take a bus from São Paulo to Rio just by car.
Sure.
Uber is also closed. Like apps like Uber, for example, you can't use. So it's very difficult.
Now here in Russia, it's still like people still travel from one city to another. Not a problem at all right now. But if it goes bad, so the only stores that will be open, it's pharmacies and grocery stores.
Yeah.
So, and the subway.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Jamie, thank you so much for the interview. Thank you so much for your time. Be safe. The situation in Russia.
You're welcome.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure always. Thank you so much. The situation is better in Russia, and let's hope to maintain like this.
One last moment, by the way, because of this coronavirus thing, our BRICS event was actually postponed, as all the the largest international forums that are usually are held here in Russia, they were postponed or were cancelled. So I hope that after this situation, we can fix the date for our BRICS event in autumn and finally meet each other and exchange this information.
All the BRICS together soon. Be sure of that. Thank you so much, my friend. Be safe and let's keep in touch.
Thank you, Bruno.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.